Hi guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to basically put movies into your Dapp created files, and movies as well as audio. Essentially what you'll be using is a MoviePlayer object. Now you don't need Dapp to be able to do this. Below the tutorial I've also included all the source code you need, so if you just want to go in, don't bother with getting Dapp or even watching this, that's cool as well. Just go there and download the project. Otherwise, I'm going to take you through the steps that you can use Dapp right now to add in your own movies or sounds. Interestingly enough, the current version of Dapp I'm working on does have the MoviePlayer object already, and I'll show you that first, just quickly. So we'll just go to Edit, and we'll add a new project, and we'll call that, sorry about that, okay, anyway, just close that there. Where were we? Okay, we'll just go back here, Edit, add new project, and we'll call this project MoviePlayer. Done, and we'll just go in there. Now we're not going to mess around with anything at all. Feel free to do whatever you want at home. For our project today, we're just going to add in a simple MoviePlayer, and that's it. So scroll down. I don't have the icon done yet, but anyway, MoviePlayer, which manages playback of a movie, and we'll call that MoviePlayer. Okay, just tap on Return and tap on Done. Okay, so that's the object there. So now if we go into the MoviePlayer object, just by double tapping and then tapping on Edit Object, and we can scroll down. These are all the options we do have. Okay, and if you do go to this content section, this is where you can actually browse all the movies that you have on your device at the time. You'll see here I've got quite a few example movies. So for example, we could choose that movie, and if we go back now, voila, pretty basic. This also works with sounds, so if you go in there into your content library and you've got audio in there, you can also choose to play those. So this can be a really useful, obviously, the object to have the MoviePlayer. But unfortunately, the current version of Dapp doesn't have the MoviePlayer. So it'll be out soon, I promise, pretty soon. Anyway, so for this tutorial, I'm just going to show you how to do it with the current version of Dapp. And anyway, let's get started. I'm just going to get rid of this MoviePlayer object first. So just double tap on it, remove object, double tap again. We're going to use a dummy object that we will replace, and I think a good dummy object we can use is the rectangle view. So just select that, and as we are going to be interacting with this in code, we'll just call it MoviePlayer. Okay, done. That's it. Now we will. Nice thing to do, let me just double tap and add this in, is just a navigation bar up the top. This helps us position this, because we do want the navigation bar to appear. Of course you cannot have one, but for now we're going to do that. Okay, so this is going to be our MoviePlayer. So when we export this to code, all we have to do is find the code that runs this object here, and we're just going to replace it with the MoviePlayer code. Okay, I'm now going to move on over to Xcode. Actually before that, just double tap, go to Done, go back, tap on the project options, and just convert your views into code. And this way Dapp will create the code for you, and you just send that. Cool. Now I'll be opening up Xcode, and we'll be dragging in the files that Dapp exported for us, and then I'll show you what you need to do next to get movies and audio playing. Okay, as usual, I've opened up Xcode. I've clicked on File, New Project, and we will be creating an empty application project. So just select that, tap on Next. We'll give it the awesome name of MoviePlayer. Don't select any of these. They're called with iPhone, so click Next. And I've just got a testing folder there, just chuck it in there. Okay. First thing we need to do, as always, is get rid of the app.delegate and main.m files. We'll just delete those. Okay. Now I'm going to drag over the files that Dapp created for us. So I'm just going to grab them right now. Okay, just drag those over. So you can do the same, just drag them into your MoviePlayer folder up there. And yes, make sure you do copy the items over and tap on finish. Okay, now I've cheated a little bit here in that I've used the current version of Dapp to actually export a version of the MoviePlayer code for us. So it saves me actually typing it out. It saves me a little bit of time. But I'll go through the code and show you how you can go through it and type it out yourself as well, of course. So you'll see down here that this is our rectangle object that we created. And this is the method that actually loads that for us. But what we are going to do is we're actually going to get rid of all of that because we want to create the MoviePlayer here with our own code. Okay. Now, as I said, I'm cheating here. Here's the code that Dapp created for us. So I'm actually going to use this to type it out, and we'll go through it one line at a time. Okay, so what Dapp's done is, and what you will need to do as well actually, is go to your header file first. Okay, and what you need to do is, we'll add the MediaPlayer framework in a second, but also make sure that you do type out this down here. So, obviously, I'm not going to type it out for you, as it's already there. Just type out import MediaPlayer /MediaPlayer.h. Okay, and you also need to, as it says here, we also need to add in the MediaPlayer.framework to the project. So select your project up here, select your target, select build phases, link binary with libraries, and what are we importing again? I think it was MediaPlayer framework, sorry. So I'll go back here, and we're just going to be importing the MediaPlayer framework. And of course that is what gives us access to the MoviePlayer and some other stuff we can use. Okay, done, add it in. So we'll go back here to our header file, and yep, of course, type that in. And what you'll need to do here is then you need to create the MoviePlayer object. So we're going to type in np MoviePlayer controller. Your autocode thingamabobby should do that automatically for you. And just press tab. I'm just going to call it MoviePlayer. Okay. Now we don't need to keep that one. So it's going to come up with errors, but that's fine. Let's just get rid of that. Okay. So we'll just cross over to our implementation file. Okay. Oh, ignore those red dots. We'll fix that in a second. Alright, so we've got the MoviePlayer created up here in a header file, so it's like a public object now. The next step is we need to initialize a copy of that object. So we type in MoviePlayer equals, this is where we allocate it and initialize it. Alright. I always, whenever I create an object, I always make sure that I'm going up here and, well, this is just required for public objects, that I'm going up here and releasing it when we exit this view, or when we deallocate this view, which is when we take it away from memory. So just change that to MoviePlayer release. Cool. Down here, so we've allocated, initialized it. So the next thing is that we need to create a bundle. Well, it's the name that Xcode uses. Basically, we're creating the object that we're passing over the movie that we've copied into our project, and then we're going to load it and add it to the MoviePlayer. So I'll take you through the process. The first line you need to type out is nsBundle bundle equals nsBundle main bundle. Okay. I'm actually going to use a short movie just so I don't want to add anything too big right yet. Just yet. So the name of my movie is How to Add Notes. Type file is MOV, and you'll see here I've got a bunch of movies here. I'm just going to drag this into our project. You can put it in wherever you like. it might be nice to put it into a separate resources folder, but it's totally up to you. For this instance, I'm just going to chuck it here in our MoviePlayer folder, and yeah, definitely do copy it over so that our project has it in its project path. There it is there, how to add notes. So now this should correctly grab that file. So I'm just going to update. Okay, that looks good. Okay, next line is we need to specify a URL object, which is what our MoviePlayer needs to reference this movie file. So it's file URL path, the content path, and is directory. No, we're not pointing to a directory. We just need to retain this, otherwise we'll lose it. We need to retain it for a little while anyway. So now we go MoviePlayer. We're going to set the content URL to be what we just created, and now we just want to release the content URL. Get rid of that memory. Cool. That part's done. Now there's a bunch of features we can modify with our movie. So I'm going to go through each of these properties, and you can set them however you like. So the first one is MoviePlayer set allows AirPlay. Yes or no? We'll set this to no. Basically, this property is a feature on Apple iPads where you can play wirelessly, and I'm not going to go into too much detail. You can look it up. Look up AirPlay, and this will set it to no, so that we cannot play it. It doesn't allow. Basically, it does not allow AirPlay movie playback. Okay, our next property we're editing is MoviePlayer set control style. Okay, now the control style is basically the style of the playback controls. One thing I do recommend with control style though is that you use the full screen style. Actually no, I recommend you don't use full screen style, as this can cause some display issues. The cool thing though is that your users are free to change to full screen using the controls that are included with the MoviePlayer anyway when they're watching your movies, so there's not necessarily any problem with that. So I like to do MPay movie, that does it automatically as well, control style embedded, so we'll choose that option. Okay. Next thing is the end playback time. Pretty obvious, it's the end time measured in seconds that the playback length of the movie basically. So we just do MoviePlayer set end playback time. Now -1 means that there is no end playback time. It means it just keeps going until the movie ends, which is what we want. We can also set an initial playback time. I'm sure you can guess what that means. -1 means it just starts straight from the start of the movie. It can be useful if you just want to play part of a movie, like maybe 2 minutes in and then only for a minute or two. Now, the next thing is we need to set the MoviePlayer source, or MoviePlayer source type. Now, the options here are basically setting the value of this property before playback begins can actually improve load times for the movie, because I'll show you some of the source types available. Movie source type, basically file streaming, so it's just two. And if you are actually streaming movies, setting it to streaming means that potentially you can play faster, but we don't care. Let's just keep it to unknown. Alright. Next line is repeat mode. So you can set obviously a movie to repeat, and you just type in MP movie repeat mode. Nice little trick is that often with coding in Objective-C, you can type in this example MP movie repeat mode, and you'll see all the options because the way they've done it, or just the way they've organised it. And we'll just go none. We do not want it to repeat. Okay. Next thing we want to set is the scaling mode. MoviePlayer set scaling mode. MP movie scaling mode. We'll just set this to aspect fill. I won't go through all the aspect fill. Sorry, I won't go through all the options. You can look those up online. MoviePlayer and then set should autoplay, which basically means if we set this to yes, it will automatically play when it shows up. Otherwise, the user has to manually press the play button. Now, I made a very large mistake in that when I deleted our original object, I didn't copy over the size of the frame. So please make sure you copy that. Basically, that's the location of where our rectangle view that we created in Dapp was placed. So that's the X coordinates, how far from the left it is, Y, how far down from top of the screen, that's the width of the object, and that's the height. So we're just going to copy this for now. So obviously you'll be copying whatever dimensions you want to use. And we'll just change it to 0, just for the heck of it. Okay, so that looks good. Oh, no, I just need to fix that there. Finally, we need to add it to the subview. Now, I'll explain this quickly. Basically, in a lot of with Xcode, it uses the MVC pattern, and when it lays that pattern is the view, which is the view controller and the view. Now, each view also has subviews. It's almost like a box of boxes, and then in those boxes it's got more boxes. So I don't know if that made any sense. Hopefully it gave you a little bit of an insight. So we're actually adding a subview to our untitled page view here. And actually I'll give you a real world sample of subviews and subviews. Okay, so MoviePlayer.view. Okay. Now, cool thing is, don't do this, but let's say we want to do UI view, my view equals UI view hello in it. We could actually add a view as a subview MoviePlayer if the MoviePlayer object allows it. I think it does. So let's have a look if it does. So MoviePlayer dot view and subview my view. Yeah, there you go. So by this means you could say create a label and get it to add it as a subview of the MoviePlayer.view. Of course, with this view you'd want to set a frame, which is the position of it, and you type in CG rect to make. That's your X, Y, width, and height. Now, when you add a subview to, say, the MoviePlayer view or any other view, these coordinates are offset from the edges of that view and not one of the top level views or something else. But let's just get rid of that. I'm not going to be doing that today anyway. That's it, really. Just get rid of this code here. We don't need this anymore. You're not going to see this anyway when you do this at home. That's it. So we've let's just run this. See if there's any warnings or errors. Oh, that's not a good error. That's why. Because when we deleted the other code that created for us, we didn't get rid of this declaration up here. Actually, something you won't need to do on your end, so no need to worry about that. And yeah, okay, you suck, Cliff. Let's see what else I've missed. Okay, done. That's it. Let's make sure it works. Hopefully it does after all this. So let's press the play button. And it's running. Voila, it's working. And as you can see, the user can go full screen mode if they want. Forward, back, and have all these controls here. Pretty cool, huh? Just close that. And yeah, as I was saying earlier, you can also use audio files. So you might have my awesome audio of type MP3, and the MoviePlayer will play that as well. As I said earlier, feel free to just download the whole project and take the bits of code you need and put them in your own code, or your own projects rather. Anyway, to your app success. Have a good one, guys.